What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about NIO. I want to go over some of the data points, break it down on what is really moving it, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So NIO's down 0.29%, nothing overly crazy. In reality, market has only been open 10 minutes, but as per usual, during the pre-market, you saw a lot of optimism, and then as soon as the market does open, NIO tanks. That's what happens time and time again, and the reason being, institutions just buy puts straight away, and then that way they're able to really bring NIO down. So today is rather unfortunate. No official news from NIO, no SEC filings or anything like that. On a macro standpoint, we have some big data coming out tonight, but of course, that'll affect tomorrow, so something to keep in mind for the year-over-year inflation as well as month-over-month and then PPI. But aside from that, though, there's a couple of things I wanted to share with you. One was this. So NIO dissolves manufacturing joint venture with state-owned JAC, and I believe that this was actually formed in 2016, fully in force, and active in 2021. And the reason why this was all done is because NIO didn't have production license at the time, but now they do, so they don't really need this anymore. So it kind of makes sense. As far as if this is a reason to sell NIO or buy, not all that much. It's just a good FYI. Aside from that, though, weekly registrations. So came in as a group 5,101. So Firefly did lead the pack. So this is now the fourth consecutive week that they are improving. So 1296. NIO and Onvo, though, they definitely did lag. So NIO did have 2,496. Onvo 1309. So definitely that could be one of the biggest attributing factors why NIO is pulling back today. So let me know your viewpoint on that. And then the only other thing I just wanted to kind of share with you was this. So it looks as though NIO hitting 1,000 highway stations is a pretty big accomplishment if you ask me. So yeah, NIO has a pretty big infrastructure, and yeah, I think this is a pretty good thing. Again, is this a reason to buy NIO or sell? Not so much. Maybe the registrations, for those of you that kind of swing trade or day trade NIO, this might be something to just be aware of. But aside from that, though, it is just people interpreting what is coming next. So I think that's the biggest thing about these numbers, is people assuming that NIO will or will not be hitting their kind of targets that they've stated. Very bold targets, but nonetheless, though, shorts are increasing 775,000 shares already within the first, like I said, 10-15 minutes. 13.53% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 208.79 million shares overall are being shorted. So shorts have been really increasing, as I've stated right here. Went from about 12% or 12.84 to where it is now. So shorts really getting in is something to be aware of. At the same time, with right now 775,000 shares being increased, and we do have only 1.05 million shares. So shorts make up a good chunk of so far the volume right now, and this is why they're able to do whatever the hell they want, as I've openly shared with you in the past. Looking at the options, take this in with all a grain of salt, because the market hasn't really been open that much, but 82% of all the options being done today are bearish in nature. Of the options being done so far, you see consensus for it to be above 350, that's the bulls. Bears are anticipating for it to be sub 3. So again, majority is anticipating a little bit more downside. No transactions occurring on the secondary market, and same goes for the dark pool. So it is a relatively quiet day so far, with it right now at 339. It is trading between these 2 points, so this S1 and S2. So 339 is going to be a strong support, and which is rather unfortunate, because this general area, it's kind of been able to avoid that for the last 2 weeks. So it does look as though the broader entities and kind of market makers out there really want to continue to bring NIO down. So 339 is going to be that key support that you really want to watch for that to hold. If not, then just watch for 333. Flip side, if you do feel that there is going to be kind of a reversal and a push higher, 343 and then 349 is going to be the kind of points to watch for. So as far as 343, kind of bounce off that general area for the high. So again, that's going to be a fairly heavy resistance. Aside from that, though, There's been absolutely nothing coming from articles aside from what I've brought up. You can even see from a lot of the titles, everyone is just talking about NIO's technicals. In my opinion, they're giving them a little bit false hope, saying that, oh, NIO's due for a nice reversal. And in reality, that's just a common thing that influencers do just to kind of get views, right? That's what articles have, clickbait titles, a lot of pumpers out there. Hopefully, I would assume that a lot of you appreciate my kind of just straight attitude, just reading the data, not here to pump you up, nor am I here to bring you down. All I'm doing is interpreting the data that is in front of me and where it might be going next. So let me know your thoughts on that. As far as analyst ratings, it's been rather odd because in the past couple of occurrences, whenever we get monthly numbers placed from NIO, we always get some new analyst ratings, but we have actually received nothing whatsoever. So that's kind of odd. So I don't know if analysts are just losing interest in NIO or possibly just waiting for their next upcoming earnings just to see their actual numbers itself. Let me know your viewpoint. What's your kind of thoughts on that? But as a consensus, $4.49 is that price target, representing 31.86% upside from these levels. Analysts haven't really done all that much for the changes to the earnings per share or the revenue. So going into this upcoming earnings, we have negative $2.25 for that. Of course, closer to the date of their earnings, I'll dive deep into the metrics and some key points to really watch for. Aside from that, though, on the actual chart itself, this is it looks rather horrific because it is below all the key pivotal moving averages, not really showing any strength whatsoever. Stochastic RSI, because of what happened over the last couple of trading days, it is not overbought exactly, but it is a little bit high for that. So most likely you're going to see a consolidation, maybe another retest of that 339 or maybe even that 333, as what I mentioned. That should kind of reset this, but still, as I've stated in the past, NIO does need to put out a catalyst to really prompt and like some actual buying going on from institutions and retail. Right now, everything is just very speculative, a lot of very ambitious targets, which in my opinion, Wall Street believes that they cannot be hit. So what's your general thoughts on NIO? Are you buying? Are you selling? What's your kind of viewpoint on these numbers? I know I asked this in the past. Some people get very irritated. The fact that just Wall Street relies on this data almost every single week as either as a positive or as a negative catalyst. What's your thoughts on this? So Firefly is obviously making pretty good improvements, but NIO and Onvo, that, I don't know, was there some issue that did come out that I'm not aware of that would have caused both of those brands to go down? I don't know. What's your viewpoint? Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Pop over to my Discord. It is completely free. A lot of good people talking about stocks, options, crypto, everything that you ever need in life. So link to that is in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.